So week 5 discussion board. One of the many roles a social worker embodies is that of a broker. The effective broker knows community resources well and must be aware of such things as eligibility criteria of resource agencies, agency characteristics, and names of contacts within the resource agency. What does the plan change process in brokering involve? So when a client comes to the attention of a social worker, understanding their needs is important. And on page 579 of our text, we're told we must assess the urgency and priority of those needs. There are situations where culture, group identification, attitudes of the client, and reaction toward accepting help can prove to be a barrier. The way a client asks for help may look different. The social worker needs to practice empathy in these situations so the client's self-empowerment isn't undermined. So we need to remember that when people come to us, that if they, let's say that they're having depression issues, they're having they're hungry, they've got a lot of different things going on, and we have to be sure that we look inside of that situation, because when it boils down to it, they may really not have a home. And if they're homeless, then a lot of their basic needs, their most basic needs, are not being met at that point. So we need to make sure that we understand what needs they have and what we need to start addressing first, and prioritize those. The identification of needs process is another strong role of the social worker. So, the social worker may see that something needs to be addressed first and that is important. However, the client also needs to see that as important, because if the client is seeing their needs need to be met in a different priority, then we kind of have to go with that priority so that the client feels that they are having those needs met, that we are hearing them, because for whatever reason that may be, that priority list is what is important to them. The way that they have those priorities numbered and how they need those met is what is important to them. And we need to give them that power. We need to allow them to have that power back about themselves to tell us, hey, this is how I need this done. Because empowerment is a huge thing for clients whenever they're trying to get help, because with that empowerment, it allows them to be able, it has to do with resiliency. So we need to make sure that we're empowering them and listening to them. Let's see, helping the client make the best choices is a social worker's responsibility. Now, we can lead them in that direction, but however, if they're not receptive to that, then we do need to listen to that and follow what it is that is, important to them in that priority list. Once the client has the referrals made after identification of needs, then the social worker needs to assist the client in using the resource system. So, that may look like helping the client make phone calls. It may look like calling those resources for them and setting up appointments. And we need to understand, that sometimes one of the barriers could be the fact that they do not have that transportation. So we need to remove that barrier in order to help them get that, those resources. And, even after we give them those resources, we make those appointments, even if we have to accompany them, because that's what makes them feel more comfortable. We need to be sure, that we follow up on the resource, that we follow up with the client, be sure that, that resource met what it was that they needed, that resource served the purpose that, that we referred them for. Because a lot of times, they can attend that appointment and find something out at that appointment that they need further. And, we need to be there to offer a referral for what it is extra that they need. We need to be sure that we have all of those grounds covered, and we can only do that by following up to make sure that, that was exactly everything that they needed. Thank you.